All right, Kevin Durant. This is what I like right here. This is what I like. Kevin Durant was on the Knuckleheads podcast some years ago and having this conversation, man. I just like to see players talk, man, because this is the difference between players and media members. The players, as soon as you ask them who's the GOAT, immediately in their brain, they're thinking about who the best is, who the best player. And they start thinking about technical things. They start thinking about things that a stat guy wouldn't be thinking about, or an analytic nerd wouldn't be thinking about, or a media member. Because media members, as soon as you ask them who the GOAT is, they're thinking about resume, paper resume. The first thing they're going to say, whether it's Chris Broussard, Rob Parker, or Stephen A. Smith, the first thing they're going to say is 27, 7, and 7. 4 rings, 5 rings, 6 rings, 9 scoring titles, this and that, which is cool, right? But if you have the debate and the conversation and the argument just on a resume, guess what? A person who's never watched basketball can Google the stats, and you're telling me that if the Googleable stats and the paper resume was that important to basketball to figure out who the best player is or who the GOAT is, you don't even have to watch nobody play to determine that. You don't even have to like basketball. You can Google it and be like, oh man, look at the stats. That guy's the best. And that's basically what you're doing. That's a disservice for you to mention who's the best, and the only thing you talked about was scoring titles, rings, MVPs, finals MVPs, and points per game and rebounds, and that's all you talked about. You didn't talk about nothing they do on the court, nothing they can do, nothing they can't do, what their strength is, what their weaknesses is. You didn't talk about none of that. So that's why when you hear people who are for LeBron in this conversation, just look at the people who support that. It's going to be a lot of stat nerds like Nick Wright, or a lot of non-basketball players. They might be a football player like Shannon Sharp, or if it is a basketball player, it's going to be one of those guys who didn't rely on skill to get in the NBA like Kendrick Perkins, right? So those are the main people who support LeBron. Oh, and of course the occasional people that hate Michael Jordan like Bill Laimbeer and Isaiah Thomas, but forget the people that just don't like Jordan. We talking about people that really believe, like Nick Wright. Oh man, I'm an analytic nerd, I'm a stat nerd, I can't shoot a jump shot. I probably ain't got the athletic bone in my body, so I don't know what it takes to get in the gym and work on a reverse pivot in the mid post, or work on a drop step, or work on a turnaround jumper, or shoot 500 jumpers. Right? I don't know what that feels like. I don't know to look at someone's shot mechanics and notice, man, Kobe put in a lot of work to get his shooting form, to be able to let the ball go at the apex, his follow through. It's repeatable. He does it the same way every single time. Like you can't appreciate that because you never got in the gym and worked on that, or you never tried to teach it to someone. Right? You don't know how much work that takes. You don't know how much better that jump shot makes you than the next person, because you've never been in the game where they neutralize you and force you to shoot jump shots and then let you get to the rim. Right? That stuff matters, and that's the stuff they're ignoring. So Nick Wright don't even care about that. You can't even have that conversation with him. He said you can't even be in a conversation if you ain't got more than 3 MVPs. And of course, Shaq and Kobe both only got 1 MVP, but that's because one, they played together, and they the voters neutralized and was like, well, they play together, they can never get the MVP. And then they both got cheated out of one by Steve Nash and whoever else won one. And it's just an anomaly. It's always an exception to a rule. You can make whatever rule you want, but there should be an exception. So if your rule is, man, I can't let you enter the conversation because you ain't got enough MVPs, who's the exception? Because I'm pretty sure it's one that exists. And in my opinion, Shaq and Kobe are exceptions to whatever rule you make. You can't make a rule on awards and be like, well, they played together, so they don't count, and your 3 rings don't count because you played with Shaq. or because Shaq's too good, and then you don't have enough MVPs. Now you can't do that. At some point, you got to look on the court, evaluate the player on what they can and can't do, strengths and weaknesses, and then how they use those strengths and got the ultimate goal. How many times they got the ultimate goal? How they performed in that game when they did it. Right? When you start doing that, man, Kobe grades out very high as Mike does. LeBron don't grade out that high. So what does LeBron got working for him? Paper resume. But anyway, let's let the players talk about it. Here's Kevin Durant.
Who would you say your top 5 is?
Mike.
And if you can put them in order.
Mike, obviously. 1. Kobe, 2. Shaq, 3. Hakeem. I would say Hakeem, 4. And Magic. Ooh.
I can't argue with that. You want to hear mine?
Yeah, I was gonna say Kareem, but I'm like, Hakeem was just as good. Like these dudes really was dominating games on the same level, but one team was winning more. And so we say this guy might have been the greatest, but like these dudes actually doing kind of the same stuff out there, like putting up the same dominant numbers.
When Kobe wasn't making the playoffs or going home first round,
he was still killing.
He was the best player in the world.
Still killing. That's how I look at it.
Like I'm talking about, he going home first round of Phoenix.
Yeah.
Everybody in the league know that Kobe was the best player in the world.
When I say the best, when I look at these dudes, I'm like, this dude is unguardable.
That's why
anybody on the floor, I think he's the best guy walking on this court right now.
That's one of the main reasons that I feel that Kobe is constantly disrespected in this whole
but that's why I said
and everything. No, I'm not saying that y'all did it. I'm just saying period. I feel like I literally had to guard him. Prime, 3P, all the way to whatever you want to say. Like, please, bruh.
It's different.
Bruh, you hear me? Like, please, what are y'all talking about?
It's ridiculous.
My top 5 is MJ, Kobe, easy Kobe.
Easy, number 2 ever.
Exactly.
I don't even want to say number 2. It's like they just up here with
man,
bro.
Like,
not in greatness, but in terms of skill.
Man, it's MJ, Kobe, Shaq. Then I'm going LeBron. Then I go Kareem.
I like to put these dudes in there when they don't. When they retired though, like that's when like I really want to.
Like I really wouldn't like. I really don't really use Kareem as a measuring stick because he, like he said, he's in the 70s and pre all of that. And
so you hear him. That's Quentin Richardson. That's Darius Miles. That's Kevin Durant. They're all saying, and I didn't play for you, Darius Miles, but he gave his 5 as well. He had Kobe at 3. Kevin Durant had him at 2. Quentin Richardson had him at 2. The players think of him in high regard. They all had LeBron in their top 5, but they had him at number 5. All 3 of them had him at number 5. Right? So LeBron is dominant. LeBron is a physically dominant player, but the people who actually work on skills and can identify skills and identify how much work a player has done are usually the players who put that work in too. So the skilled players are going to look to Kobe as the best. So many people. Like, look how many people went to his Mamba Academy. Kawhi, Kyrie, Paul George. I want to say Harden went there. Like, everybody was going to the Mamba Academy to learn from a guy that just retired. I want to know what you know, man, because you was sick. How many people do you think are going to be going to LeBron to learn how to run full speed at the rim? What can LeBron teach somebody? Well, Rondo spoke for LeBron and said, as far as watching film, LeBron was a savant on the court. And if Rondo said that, I believe it. So as far as what he sees and what his vision and stuff like that, he's gifted. So I'm pretty sure he can pass that down. But as far as let's get in the gym and you show me this, nah, he don't got that. He can't get in the gym and show me nothing. Right? And that's not a knock. That's just saying that your gift has more to do with physicality. You're 6'9", 260, and you move very fast, and you jump high and you're strong, right? So yeah, if you're physically dominant like that, you're probably not going to work on your skills that much. That's the difference between someone like Kobe and LeBron James. And then if you look at it for big men, that's the difference between Shaq and Hakeem. Shaq was physically gifted and dominant, 7'1", 325 pounds, move fast, jump high, and very strong. If I could do that, if I could get the ball in the low post and you can't stop me from getting to the rim, it's gonna be very hard for me to be motivated during the summer to be on there working on the Hakeem Dream Shake, the up and under, drop steps, sweet baby hooks, turn around, jump shots in the post. Like who would work on that? That's like a linebacker who's designed to put hits on people. Imagine if he was out there all summer long running routes. Like why would a linebacker be running routes? You never go use that. So someone like Shaq, he never go use the Hakeem Shake because he don't need to. He's just huge and big. So they rely on their physical attributes. LeBron relied on his physical attributes. However, it got him by because he's such a gifted person physically. He's just gifted. Right? And with those gifts, if he wanted to go in there and work as hard as Jordan and Kobe, LeBron would, without a doubt, be the greatest player we ever seen. But while Kobe is in there shooting 5,000 jump shots in the morning, afternoon, and at night, and then riding his bike 10 miles and then swimming and then running, while he's doing all of that and then getting all his jump shots up and working on everything that he's go do in the game, like he's thinking about everything, shooting over 3 people, shooting over 4 people, doing it. Like he's working out like that. I don't think LeBron work out like that, bro. I think he's just physically gifted, and he's so physically gifted, he could work out mid and still be a top 5, top 10 player like he is. But he's not the greatest that we've ever seen. He's not number 2 either, because Kobe's better than him. So that's how I got it. That's how I look at it, man. Kevin Durant, he said a mouthful with that. And now y'all turn the way in, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section.